I'm Virginia Handley with PawPAC.
Okay, hi Virginia. Please tell me a little bit more about PawPAC, when it started and what its purpose is.
PawPAC started in 1980, and it was a handful of people that were active in the California Legislature and trying to pass laws and defeat bad bills. And we thought it would be a very good thing if everybody knew how the legislators voted on these various bills. So we started up PawPAC. We put out a voting chart, which we have done every year since 1981, and we grade them just like they're in grade school, A to F.
How successful has it been?
Well, it's been quite successful as far as being able to continue to put out the voting chart. And then we also do endorsements. And this is all on the state level. So state assemblymen and assemblywomen or assembly members and our state senators, so not federal.
How effective is it as far as getting people to vote for the people that are for the animals?
Well, we've been pretty lucky of who we endorse. We give them a questionnaire. They're also, those are for people we don't know. A lot of them are already legislators. They're incumbents. So we have their record. So we can do endorsements that way. And we also endorse or oppose initiatives. So we dealt with the Prop 2 and the Prop 4.
Do you have any lobbying aspect to PawPAC?
Oh, yes, certainly. That's a huge, huge part of it. Well, for years I lobbied for the Fund for Animals, Cleveland Amory. And now after Cleveland Amory passed away, and then they merged with HSUS, and I worked for HSUS for a while, did some lobbying for them. But now I lobby under PawPAC, and it's good because a lot of the legislators are familiar with PawPAC. In fact, they'll ask, is this going on the chart? And I do try to pick out the more controversial bills so that you can see a real difference between the yeses and the nos and the different grades. And so I'll go to the hearings and testify as PawPAC, write up position papers on the bills, get them around to the committee members.
As far as current legislation, what do you think is the most important legislation that's going on right now that is something that PawPAC is focusing on?
Well, we focus on everything. That's one thing that I like about what I do, and we put out a legislative alerts, and we cover all of the bills. And we also cover the Fish and Game Commission or the Horse Racing Board, the Coastal Commission, anything on the state level. So it's very hard to say what bill is more important than another because it just depends on who you are and what you care about. And sometimes people will complain to say, well, she voted against that, she should get an F. That's the most important bill. And well, yes, to you it's the most important bill. To others, it's another bill. And then you have the environmental bills, and of course they're important because if animals don't have habitat, all other issues are moot if they've got nowhere to live. So we don't grade them according to how they're important. There are a number of bills. And actually, I get more involved sometimes because of bills to kill, because many times those bills are ignored by the other groups. They go in and they have their agenda and they're working on this and this, and they don't pay any attention to the bad ones. And they need a lot of work. You got to show up for those hearings, and I'm fighting with the hunters all the time. I'm lucky to make it to the parking lot sometimes, because sometimes I'll be the only one there opposing them.
Historically, what has probably been the most dynamic bill that you worked on that was successful for the animals?
Well, really the first bill I ever worked on, this was the early 70s. I went up there and worked with a woman named Gladys Sargent, who had been up there since the 40s, and she died at 97 with her boots on. But the first bill that I worked on was to prohibit painful animal experiments in elementary and high schools. And that took several years to get through. It would get defeated and then we'd have to start over again. And the American Medical Association was opposed to it, or the California Medical Association, all the science teachers and all that. But I had gone to a science fair and took pictures. I was just appalled at what was going on at these science fairs. They were cut off the top of a frog's head with a pair of scissors to see how long does one live with the top of your head missing. That poor frog lived 3 days. They were burning mice with these infrared lamps and chronicling how the color of their skin would change and how they try to escape. Just really stupid stuff, not very scientific. And so when we got the bill through, I went back to the science fair the next year. It was a totally different science fair. And so I got a lot of satisfaction out of that. Another one of the early bills was getting emergency treatment for stray animals, and start up the lost and found lists. And I got that mandated because a lot of shelters weren't doing that.
What about the Hayden Bill?
I've dealt a lot with the Hayden Bill, and all that's in trouble now, big trouble, because when the bill was going through, the legislators were told this bill's going to make money, this is going to save lives. Well, it ended up, it's cost the state, I don't know, they're owed $25 million right now, and that's after years of millions and millions of dollars. Of course, some of that money was used to expand the shelters because a big problem was overcrowding. Because you can say, well, you hold them a few more days. Well, you got to have some place to put them, and then that would threaten animals who were up for adoption, but their mandated holding time was up. So they get put down, and to make room for the ones coming in. So it's important that they were able to expand shelter operations. But this year they want to suspend that law, meaning it will not be obligatory. And so we are going to be going back to a holding period of 72 hours. And what I'm trying to deal with now is to make sure if they are going to do this, which it seems, yes, they are, that they don't just go in and repeal the whole law, which is their tendency to do, but there's only certain parts of it that are considered unfunded state mandates. So the part that says the shelters are to cooperate with the rescue groups, that doesn't cost the shelters anything, and so that's not part of this. So we want to make sure that that is intact.
How can people get involved with PawPAC?
Well, to email me, info@pawpac.org, call me up. And a good place to call me is Animal Switchboard. I'm with Animal Switchboard, and we're a local, we kind of watch the animal shelters. I was going to say pound, but there were days when they were pounds. And but that's the best number to reach me at 415-474-4021, and that number's good anytime.